Hey, thanks for dropping in. I'm Robert, and you picked a great day to watch this channel, because today is Cheesecake Day. Yep, that's right, cheesecake. Specifically, the no-bake variety. This should be a good one, hopefully, so stick around. Alright, so the inspiration for this dessert was a show I watched on YouTube called Hidden Restaurants. In it, a Michelin-starred chef by the name of Michel Roux Jr. made what he called a raspberry ripple cheesecake. Honestly, I thought it was more of a trifle, but whatever, it got me thinking. What I really liked about the recipe was that it didn't require baking. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that baking is not something I do. Me and dough, we don't mix. Pardon me for a second while I take out my frustrations on these cookies. The first thing we're going to make is the base, which is made from these cookies I just smashed, plus a couple of tablespoons of melted butter. We'll mix these together until we have a loose crumble. As you can see, our cookies aren't completely pulverized, and that's okay. You'll see why when we assemble. I think this could use another shot of melted butter. That's better. We can set this aside. Next, we'll work on the filling. Unlike Michel Roux, we're not using raspberries because they're not in season yet. Instead, we're going to use lemons. Not that they're any more in season, but at least they're readily available. Before we can get to them, though, we have to make some whipped cream. I'm doing this on low so I don't splash cream everywhere. We're getting close, so we can add half our sugar. Then keep going. We want to take these to stiff peaks. I think we're there. Took a little longer than expected, maybe because it's a warm day, but that looks about right. This can go into fridge to chill while we work on the cheese. I'll use a glass bowl so you can see what we're doing. First thing, we'll throw in a couple of bricks of cream cheese that's been softening for a bit on the counter. Now for some ginger marmalade. This stuff's fantastic, and it'll add a beautiful sweet and slightly spicy dimension. Next comes the lemon juice, as well as lemon zest. And finally, our remaining sugar. Ideally, this would be superfine sugar, but I don't have any of that, so I'm using plain old granulated. That's good enough for our purposes. We'll carve the cheese up a bit to make life easier for the mixer. And now we can give it a spin to mix. It'll be pretty wet and sploshy to start, but once it starts to come together, it should smooth out. Looks a bit like cottage cheese, doesn't it? As I said a minute ago, we're using regular cream cheese. If you wanted to make this extra special, you could use mascarpone, which is Italian cream cheese. It has a higher fat content, which would make it a richer and creamier cheesecake. The one thing you'd have to be careful about is not to overmix, because that makes mascarpone grainy. If that happens, a splash of cream usually fixes it. Alright, I'd say that looks well mixed. Time to retire these beaters and add the whipped cream. We'll put in half for now. And we won't be needing this rag anymore. I'll fold this in carefully so that we don't deflate all the air we put into the whipped cream. We'll need that to lighten the texture of the cheesecake. We'll add the rest. Then fold again. I think we're done, so I'm just going to give it a quick taste. Yeah, that's perfect. Nicely balanced between sweet and tangy, with a little background note of the ginger. This is ready to assemble. Like I said at the start, I thought Michel Roux's version was more trifle than cheesecake. Regardless, we're going with a similar presentation to what he did, because I liked how it looked. He used jam jars. We're using glass tumblers. We start by dropping in our ginger cookie crumble. Say that 5 times fast. That'll form our base layer, or crust, if you will. About a centimeter thick should do it. I'll use the handle of this ice cream scoop to tamp that down a bit. This crumb is way too loose to form a crust you could actually scoop out as a crust, but we still want it to be its own distinct layer. Now we can add the lemon ginger cream. We'll fill it just short of the top. Then give it a couple of gentle slaps to even it out. And we're done. For now. We still have to add a final layer of lemon curd, but before we can do that, this will need to chill for at least a few hours. So I'll see you after this cold transition. Welcome back. Our cheesecakes have been hanging out in the fridge overnight, and they're nicely set. I ended up making 3, one for everyone in the family, but sorry, none for you. You'll just have to make your own. Let's finish these. We'll start with a couple of healthy teaspoons of lemon curd. And try to smooth it to the edges. Needs a bit more. And that looks about right. That's a pretty good looking glaze. We'll give the same treatment to these other 2. And there. Perfect. These look great. I love the clear separation of crumble and cheese, and with that bright pop of yellow, wow. Let's do the flyby. Thanks for watching. It was a nice change of pace making dessert, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Before you go, remember to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you next time.